For question number 25, we have been given a choice of 4 sets of numbers which are in the ratio of 2:5, and we are told that if 16 is added to both the numbers, then their ratio should become 1:2. So this problem can be solved by simple calculation. Just write down the numbers, add 16 to both the numbers, and you will see that answer choice 4 is the correct answer, because when we add 16 to 32 and 80, we'll arrive at 48 and 96, which are in the ratio of 1:2. So 4 is the correct answer. Question number 26. Here the power of concentration is being compared to a concave mirror. So this sort of a comparison between two different things is called an analogy. For example, if a car is compared to a cheetah, in the sense both of them can run very fast. So the comparison between these two is called an analogical type of reasoning. So the answer choice 3, analogical, will be the correct answer. For question number 27, we have been given 2 premises and a set of 4 conclusions and asked to identify which of these conclusions can be validly drawn on the basis of the given premises. Now the official answer is choice 2, where they say conclusions B and C are valid. However, by putting some numbers around the 2 premises, we see that the only conclusion that can be validly drawn will be conclusion A. Therefore, the correct answer should have been A only. However, the correct answer as per the official key continues to be option 2. For question number 28, we first have to understand what is the meaning of inductive reasoning. Now, inductive reasoning is a logical process in which multiple premises, all of which are true or found to be true most of the time, are combined to arrive at some specific conclusion. For example, if I go to somebody's house and I see that the chair in the living room is red, and the chair in the dining room is red, and the chair in the bedroom is also red, I can arrive at a conclusion that all the chairs in this house must be red. Now I am depending on the uniformity in the color of the chairs to arrive at that conclusion. So which means that I am depending on the uniformity of nature of the chairs to arrive at the conclusion. So the correct answer would be option 4, that is uniformity of nature. For question number 29, we have been given a proposition in the main body of the question which says domestic animals are hardly ferocious, and we are expected to take this to be false. So if we take domestic animals are hardly ferocious to be false, we will arrive at either all domestic animals are ferocious or most of the domestic animals are ferocious. Therefore, the propositions A and B will be correct. C and D will be wrong because they are more in line with domestic animals are not ferocious. Therefore, the option choice 1, which has A and B, will be the correct answer. For question number 30, we have been given 4 statements in the context of the Venn diagram method and asked to identify which one of the statements is not correct. Since Venn diagram related questions appear quite frequently in the UGC NET exam, we suggest that all candidates should have a good understanding of what the Venn diagram method is all about, how they are drawn and how they are analyzed. Coming to the question, if we look at the given statements, Venn diagram is a method of testing the validity of arguments. So statement 1 is correct. Venn diagrams represent both the premises of a syllogism in one diagram. So statement 2 is also correct. And statement 4 is also correct because a Venn diagram can be used to represent classes as well as propositions. Option 3 is not correct because it says a Venn diagram requires 2 overlapping circles for the premises of a standard form categorical syllogism. Now when we look at the definition of a categorical syllogism, it says that a categorical syllogism is an argument consisting of exactly 3 categorical propositions, 2 premises and a conclusion. So we need at least 3 circles to represent a categorical syllogism. Therefore, statement 3 is wrong, and that is the answer for question 30. Questions 31 to 35 are based on a table which gives the year-wise production, exports and per capita consumption of rice. There is also a small note under the table which explains how the per capita consumption is calculated and how consumption is calculated. The shaded columns in the table that you can see on the screen have been created by us for the purpose of calculation. The exam paper only has the table which is not shaded. Now, question number 31 asks about in which year was there the highest increase in the consumption of rice over the previous year in terms of percentage. So now, to calculate the consumption, we have to subtract exports from production, because if production is 186.5 million kilos and exports is 114 million kilos, then the difference is what is being consumed in the country. So we arrive at the numbers that you see in the first shaded column with the title consumption. The second column is the increase over the previous year. If we subtract the previous year's consumption from the subsequent year, then we arrive at what is the increase or the decrease that has happened vis-a-vis the previous year. So we arrive at 15.5, 20, minus 3 and 22, which means that in 2015 there has actually been a decrease in comparison to the previous year. Now, since this particular question is asking about in which year was the percentage increase of consumption the highest as compared to the previous year, we will have to calculate only for 3 years, which is for 2013, 2014 and 2016, because for 2012 we don't have any previous year, and for 2015 there has been a decrease over the previous year, so we have to calculate only for 3 years. Also, while you're calculating, since you will not be using a calculator unless you are extremely good at mathematics, you might as well calculate for the first 2 digits and stop there and see if you can arrive at the answer. If you are unable to find the answer with the basic calculation, then you can calculate the subsequent digits. So now, when we calculate the percentage increase for 2013, 14 and 16, we see that the answer would be 2014, where the percentage increase has been 22.73. Even if we had just calculated 21, 22 and 20 and not the digits after the point, not the decimal points, we could have identified that 2014 was the year in which there was the highest increase, and option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Question number 32 is again based on the same table that we discussed in question 31. So whenever you come across a series of questions that are based on the same table or the same chart or graph, read all the questions and understand what are the questions that you will have to answer subsequently so that you can do the calculations beforehand. For example, the table that we created for question 31 is useful for answering the entire series of questions that are based on this table. Now, when we look at question 32, it asks what is the population of the country in the year 2014. So the population of the country can be arrived at by dividing the consumption for this particular year by the per capita consumption. So for 2014, if we divide 108 by 38.7, we arrive at 2.79, which is option 3 and which is the correct answer for this question. Question number 33 asks in which year was the ratio of exports to consumption the highest. To arrive at this ratio, you have to divide the data in the exports column with the data in the consumption column. But before you get into the calculation, try to eliminate those years in which the ratio is obviously the smallest so that you don't have to do unnecessary calculations. For example, for the year 2016, exports is less than the consumption. It is 88 versus 127. So this year we can eliminate straight away. Between 2012 and 2013, the exports is same. It is 114 for both the years. But only the consumption has changed. So here we just need to do the calculation for 2012, because obviously the ratio will be higher for 2012 as compared to 2013. Similarly, 2015, the exports is at 116 million kgs, which is relatively close to 114 million kgs that is there in 2013 and 2012. Therefore, even here we can safely discard this year, because it is only the consumption which has increased drastically, and we'll need to look at the year with the lowest consumption between 2012, 13 and 15. So now we have only 2 years for which we need to calculate the ratio, which is for the year 2012 and for the year 2014. So when we calculate the ratio, we find that year 2012 has the highest ratio of exports to consumption, and that is the correct answer. For question number 34, we are asked in which year was the population of the country the highest. To calculate the population, we need to divide the data in the consumption column for the year by the per capita consumption for the same year. Now, in most countries, the population goes on increasing year after year. So we can logically assume that the population for 2016 will be the highest and the 2012 population will be the lowest. Therefore, we can start the calculation from 2016 and work our way backwards. So when we do the calculation, we see that 2016 is the highest at 3.02 and 2012 is the lowest. There is an aberration for 2015. However, in general, the logic holds good that the population for the most recent year is usually the highest, and the population for the most lowest year will be the lowest. Therefore, 2016 is the correct answer both logically and through calculation. Question number 35 asks, what is the average consumption of rice in million kgs from the years 2012 to 2016? This is a fairly simple question. All you need to do is just add up the numbers in the consumption column and divide them by 5. When we add up the numbers, we arrive at 500.5. So if we divide it by 5, we will get 100.1, and that is the correct answer. Answer choice 4. Question number 36 talks about the term ICT and asks which of the two given statements is correct. Now ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. Therefore, the statement P, which is Indian Classical Technology, is a wrong statement. So if we eliminate all the answer choices which have P in it, we are left with only 2, which is Q only, and therefore 2 is the correct answer. To talk a little bit about converging technologies, we see that if we take a Hathway internet connection, then Hathway gives us both cable TV as well as broadband internet through the same cable. So this is convergence. Similarly, the upcoming Reliance Jio Fiber network is expected to give us telephony and broadband internet and cable TV through the same cable. So this is again a further example of converging technologies. So option 2, Q only, is the correct answer. For question number 37, we are given a option of 4 different technologies and asked, in a new laptop, which of these technologies makes it weigh less, smaller and use less power? Now, if we start eliminating the answer choices, we see that 1 will be the first which can be removed, because Universal Serial Bus mouse is an external device. By adding a mouse, you are not going to reduce the weight of the laptop, so that can be removed. The second option, faster random access memory, yes, the memory is faster, the laptop is faster, but it does not have any implication on the weight of the laptop. That can also be eliminated. Blu-ray drive or the Blu-ray disc drive is a relatively older technology, and the newer laptops, especially the Ultrabooks, don't come with a disk drive at all. So the addition of a disk drive is only going to increase the weight of the laptop and not remove it. Now option 4, which says solid state hard drive, this is the correct answer because most of the new laptops come with SSD hard disks which do not have any moving parts, and these are faster and lighter and use significantly less power than the older generation of hard disks. Therefore, SSD hard drive is the correct answer. Answer choice 4 will be correct. Question number 38 is a relatively simple question that talks about our understanding of the email messaging system. So if you go to your inbox and open any set of emails, you will find that whatever email addresses have been put in the to field are always visible, and whatever email addresses have been added in the CC field, that is the carbon copy field, are also visible to all the recipients. However, email addresses which are added to the BCC field, that is a blind carbon copy field, will not be visible to any of the recipients. For example, if I have to send an email out to 1,000 people and I don't want them to know the distribution list of the email and I don't want them to start replying to everybody, so what I do is I can put the email addresses in the BCC field and send it out. So everybody will still receive the email, however they will not be able to see the recipients of the email. So BCC field will be invisible. Among the given answer choices, choice 2 is the correct answer because it contains only those email IDs which are there in the to and the CC fields. So 2 is the correct answer. Question number 39 is a relatively simple question again related to the field of computers. We have been given a set of 6 units of storage and asked to put them in the correct order, starting with the smallest unit first and going to the largest unit. So here bit is the smallest unit, then byte, then kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte and terabyte. So the first choice has to be F and the last one has to be D. So if we look at the given answer choices, only 3 has F in the beginning and D at the end. Therefore, answer choice 3 is the correct one. Question 40 is again a simple question related to the field of computers. We have been given 3 statements about volatile memory and asked to identify which of these statements are true. Now the first statement, P, says read-only memory is volatile memory. This is a wrong statement because volatile memory means any memory which loses the data that has been put into it as soon as the power is switched off. Now read-only memory tends to be relatively permanent. Therefore, statement P is wrong. The second one, that is Q, which says random access memory is volatile memory, is true because whatever data has been put into the RAM of a computer disappears as soon as the computer is switched off. So statement Q is correct. Statement 3, secondary memory is volatile memory. This statement is false because secondary memory is usually the hard disk. Therefore, whatever data has been put on the hard disk is not going to disappear as soon as the computer is switched off. So this statement is wrong. So which means that only Q is correct and the other 2 statements are wrong. So answer choice 2 is the correct answer. Question number 41 talks about fly ash, which is produced in thermal power plants where coal is burnt. Now there are 4 uses which have been given and we have to identify which of them is not applicable. Fly ash has been used in agricultural fields as a micronutrient in a limited quantity because it has some elements which are beneficial to plants. Similarly, in wasteland development, yes, again it has been used as a filler or as a micronutrient, and so option B also is correct. And it has been used in the brick industry to make mud bricks, as well as fly ash is mixed with cement to make cement bricks. So when bricks are made, they can be used in dams and water holding structures. So C also will be correct. So when we come down to the answer choices, choice 4 has A, B, C and D, which is the correct answer. In question number 42, we have been given a set of 4 natural disasters and asked to identify which one of them do not have a definite beginning and an end. Now earthquakes usually last for a few seconds and their beginning and end can be precisely tracked. Similarly, landslides again have a definite beginning and an end. Hurricanes are tracked from the time they develop in a low pressure area over the ocean until they dissipate over land or over the sea again. Now, droughts are caused by the lack of water. It can be because lack of rainfall or because the rivers that supply water to a particular area have dried up. Now, the beginning of a drought cannot be measured exactly because it starts at some point in the past when the rainfall either stopped or started becoming less. And the shortage of water again develops over a period of time where the existing water gets used up, and a drought does not end till there is sufficient water again. And sufficient water doesn't mean that the drought stops as soon as there is any rainfall, because if the rainfall happens but it is not sufficient, then the drought does not end there. Therefore, a drought is a natural disaster that does not have a definite beginning and an end, and answer choice 4 is the correct answer. For question number 43, we have been given an assertion and a reason and asked to identify whether the assertion is true and whether the reason R is the correct explanation for the assertion A. Indoor air pollution is a serious health hazard. This is a true statement. For example, the rubber gum or the glue that is used in the manufacture of furniture can release a lot of harmful toxins over a period of time. Similarly, the paint that is used to coat our walls can release harmful toxins when it is new. Therefore, assertion A is true. Now, these harmful toxins, when they are released, if there is proper ventilation, then the effect is reduced. However, inside a house, because we keep the doors closed or there are small windows or there is a lack of proper cross ventilation, these pollutants tend to get concentrated and become more harmful. Therefore, reason R is the correct explanation for the assertion A. Therefore, answer choice 1, which says both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A, is the correct answer. So, choice 1 is the correct answer for this question. For question number 44, we have been asked to identify the order in which various sources of energy contribute to the total power generation in India. Now, thermal power plants where coal is burnt are the highest contributors, so they have to come first. Nuclear energy is the lowest contributor, so that has to come last. Between choices 1 and 2, we have to decide whether renewable energy is higher or LHP, that is large hydropower projects, are higher. Now, large hydropower projects contribute just about 2% to the overall energy production in India, and they are far less than the amount of electricity that is produced by burning biomass such as sugarcane bagasse, which is burnt in a lot of power plants. So, renewable energy is greater than LHP. Therefore, answer choice 1 is the correct answer because thermal power plants produce more energy than renewable power plants, which produce more energy than large hydropower projects, and nuclear energy is the smallest contributor. For question number 45, we are asked to identify which is the major source of pollution in the rivers of India, and this has been proven to be the untreated sewage which flows into the rivers from the nearby towns and the villages. Therefore, option 2 is the correct answer. Question number 46 talks about which are the countries which are ahead of India in having the largest higher education system in the world. Now, the correct answer is option 4, that is A and C only. That is, the United States of America is the world leader in having the largest HES, and China is placed at number 2, and India is ranked at number 3. Now, to provide a proper context, the largest that is being talked about here is purely in terms of the number of people enrolled in the higher education system or the number of people engaged in the higher education system, and it does not talk about the percentage of GDP that is being spent on higher education or any other quality parameters. So purely in terms of volumes or the number of people, India ranks at number 3 in the world. So answer choice 4 is the correct answer for this question. Question number 47 talks about the Prime Minister Research Fellowship and who is eligible to take benefit of this program. Now, this fellowship is reserved for students who are pursuing their PhD programs in the IITs and the IISc. Therefore, answer choice 4 is the correct answer. For more information about the Prime Minister Research Fellowship, you can visit their official website at pmrf.in. Question number 48 asks us, the leader of the opposition is involved in the committees which select which of the 4 given options. Now, the leader of the opposition is not involved in the selection of the chairperson of National Commission for Women. Therefore, the remaining 3 A, B, C are true. So the answer choice 2, which has A, B, C only, is the correct answer for this question. Question number 49 talks about gender budgeting and asks us which of the 4 given statements is correct. Now, gender budgeting is not merely an accounting exercise, and it does not involve the creation of a separate budget specifically for women. So statements B and D are correct. So option 1, which says B on D only, is the correct answer for this question. The last question, question number 50, asks us which of the following 4 are barriers to citizen-centric administration in India. Now, D, that is lack of job opportunities to the youth, is a result of the lack of citizen-centric administration and not a barrier. So we can eliminate that. Option C, that is awareness of rights and duties of the citizens, is actually an enabler for citizen-centric administration and not a barrier. So that also can be eliminated. So A and B, that is wooden and inflexible attitude of the civil servants and ineffective implementation of laws and rules, are the correct statements here. Therefore, option 4, which has A and B only, is the correct answer for question number 50.